Reputation doesn't matter, said no business ever. In fact, today reputation does matter more than ever, and it's also never been harder to control. At Reputation, we've spent the last decade creating an advanced listening platform that captures all interactions and every single piece of feedback a business receives, from all star ratings to every social media comment. We were the first to understand the power of feedback. Today, we take all sentiment data and turn it into actionable insights that drive every customer interaction, from unsolicited feedback across your digital channels to prompted surveys, from Google business listings to social media comments and everything in between. We manage tens of millions of interactions across hundreds of thousands of customer touchpoints and give you the automated tools to deliver a better customer experience by responding to feedback in real time. With Reputation, you'll show up and stand out in the places that matter. Learn more about how we help businesses beat their best comment, post, like, review. Reputation.
Afternoon. Can everyone hear me all right? Yeah? Afternoon. So we're Reputation. We're lucky enough to be sat up here with Howard's Motor Group today. We'll do a quick kick-off with introductions. So my name's David. I'm a Senior Solutions Consultant at Reputation.
I'm Declan. I'm the Account Director at Reputation.
I'll go first then. I'm Stuart Mackintosh. I'm the Group Operations Director at Howard's Motor Group.
Chris Lee, Group Managing Director at Howard's Motor Group. Probably just a good opportunity for me to give you a bit of an overview of our business. So we are a family-run group. We've been established for 53 years. We're based in the southwest of England, so the sun always shines down in the southwest, so that's good. We embarked on a journey with Reputation that started in 2021, and we're keen over the course of the next sort of 20 minutes or so to try to give you an overview of perhaps some of the pearls of wisdom we've taken from that, and certainly how it's guided our business over the course of the last 3 years.
Perfect. Cheers, Chris. So we might as well jump straight into it. So Howard's ranking number 1 by Reputation score in the UK for the second year running. So the report came out last week. If you did want to catch a glance or ask any questions about it, there's some copies on C40. Chris, Stuart, how did you do it?
Well, I think, as is always the case with these things, there's no silver bullet, I think it's fair to say. It has been, in some part, a war of attrition. And having embarked, as I said before, on the journey with Reputation dating back to September 2021, we had to really look at every part of our business to understand culturally were we in the right place to be able to deliver the customer excellence that we're looking for our customers, both then and in the future. I think it's fair to say that we felt we had a very strong culture as a family-run business. We were, customer was always first, but perhaps we were a bit of a crossroads where customer journey was clearly changing. Customers' expectations post-COVID were growing exponentially. And I think perhaps to a degree we had hidden from the world of reviews, of platforms where people could tell the truth, whether they'd purchased or they hadn't. And we probably needed to make a decision in our minds as to who we wanted to be. I remember just as I was opening a bottle of Lambrini on New Year's Eve in 2022 that I received an email from a customer. It was a long-standing customer at one of our sites, and to be honest, I was really disappointed to read it, that after several purchases, lots of interactions with us, they'd been let down by a member of our team, and we'd failed to provide the level of service that we'd committed to them. And I'll be honest, for me, that was a moment in time that I look back and review today to say we had to make some decisions whilst we'd onboarded the Reputation platform about how we were going to use those tools to empower change in our business. So in January, I had some great ideas, and the rest of the senior team were thrilled, as I'm sure you can imagine, on the 2nd of January with all the things that I thought were a great idea. And from that, I guess, we'll try to give you some overview in the next short period of time about some of the things we've implemented to deliver the score that we see today.
Super. You've mentioned it there, family-run business, really close kind of community at Howard's. Obviously, CX programs, it's not just your guys' responsibility, it floods throughout your business. How have you got buy-in from the entire business around the importance of your CX strategy?
I think for us, it was massively focused on our culture of our business. So for a long time, we had the CSI programs from the brand, which we hold close to our hearts, as the brand do. We know how important they are. However, we were really concerned about some of the customers that didn't quite get that far. You know, to go through the customers or CSI program with a brand, they've got to be so happy to make a purchase of something from us or use a service. And you know, the people that weren't quite getting that far, what was happening to those people? So we had to look at that, and also we then had to how we're going to measure our progress with some of the elements that we do day in, day out. There was some elements we wanted to look at, which was accountability for our team, empowering our teams, and reputation just gave us a good platform how we can measure that more tangibly day to day.
Super. And what sort of insight do you give them then?
So on a Monday, every week, the good, the bad, the ugly, as we call it in group, darkens everyone's inbox within our group. And the reality of that is it shows the good, which is where we got it really, really right. The bad for us is the ambivalent, and the ugly is where we got it very, very wrong. And at that stage, it might not be specific to that location, but in reality, everyone in all of our teams could make a mistake at any point, and it's just sort of keep themselves on their toes, and also aspire to have their name up in lights in some of the good reviews. So we use that for every team member. On a Tuesday at a scene level, we review the league. We have an internal group league with where every location sits, and we review that at scene level, and then in the afternoon we cascade that to our management teams, which again inspires. Everyone wants to be top of a league, don't they? So you know, our teams internally then will work at that, and then we also have some analytics that the team will use to how we can improve certain sites. So we have an internal score of 865 that every site has to aspire to achieve or exceed in reality, and for the sites that fall below that, we have a sort of performance improvement program of what we can do with customer service to try and improve those.
Perfect. It's important to build that culture to ensure that different departments are all striving for that top goal, but make sure that they're all going in that same way. How do you get them all to pull in that same way?
We sort of adjusted our pay plans a while ago and we've gone away from sort of employing just general sales execs or customer service advisors now, and we call them customer relationship managers. And we've looked at most pay plans were about quantity, and we tried to diversify that into more of a quality-based pay plan. So they can get paid for selling their car, they can get paid for selling EVHC, they can get paid for selling a service plan, but they also get paid quarterly based on the reputation score of their location. And what that does is drive everyone in that location to be able to work together. And I suppose that sort of personal accountability for your team members, that if you don't sort of pull your weight daily with customer service, you'll be letting your sort of co-workers down when it comes to that payment at the end of the quarter. So.
Yeah, and I think building that culture, because there's so many different metrics that you can focus on. Reputation score gives that single metric to be able to be transferable across departments, if you like.
Definitely, and when you look at things like accountability and how you measure that, it's very difficult to measure accountability, but the sites with, you know, the most poor reviews or the most complaints, they've probably got slightly less accountable team members in that location, and we need to work on that to try and drive that forward. So it does give us a good measure on how accountable a particular site is in totality.
Chris, I know that we've spoken recently and you've mentioned sort of the pillars that prop up Howard's Motor Group.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit about those pillars and how reputation has become and formed part of that?
Absolutely. So as part of our broader strategy, we had a very clear policy and strategy on what we saw as our pillars of defence, and these were driven around people, around processes, around performance in order to drive results. In order for that to be successful, we were looking to extend customer relationships over a long period of time and looking at the value of a transaction, not as a singular moment in time through a service or repair or purchase, but actually looking at it over multiple years. The key thing for us was to say, and we certainly use, as Stuart said, some of the manufacturers' CX programs as a judge of or a measure of success. But the truth of it is, if someone scores a 9 or a 10, does that mean they're returning to your business in a year's time to have their car serviced or MOT? And I think actually what Reputation has empowered our teams to do is to be able to see what people are really saying and thinking about who we are. We've had to be honest with ourselves at times when we get it wrong, and although our score on paper looks fantastic, I'll be candid with you, Stuart and myself and the senior management team see every single review that comes into our business every day, every night, and that's 600 a month. So we know that we don't get it right all of the time, and for us this is part of a journey. Their destination isn't the highest automotive reputation score for this year in the UK. It's a checkpoint. We just picked up a bottle of water and we're moving on to the next thing, because for us, to be honest, it's only really the start of the journey. Starting to understand and looking at, from our perspective, how we measure the value of a customer over the lifetime of that is a real project for us for next year, so that we start putting a pound, shilling and pence amount to that customer journey. I think actually even perhaps embarking on a scenario where customers who are long-standing existing customers have more direct access to be able to get the products and services at a speed that they require. We look at an omni-channel route of the world today is, Amazon set the pace, don't they? I don't actually see, and this is not in an arrogant way, that competition is motor retail, competition is broad retail, and the likes of Amazon are setting the pace. So from our perspective, we need to ensure that we're moving quickly enough to continue to fulfill what our customers are looking at for the next 53 years, and that's the challenge that we have.
Super. And just to follow up on that, because obviously whatever business you are, you're going to get those negative reviews, right? How do you guys operationally look at those and then make improvements based on what the customers are telling you?
So I think a culture where we share that openly with all of the teams, and when we first started doing this in 2022, actually there was an element of resistance in the teams in some parts saying, well look, it's not really fair that my name has been mentioned and I didn't call that customer back, and that's gone to 310 people in the organisation. But I think as we've moved through that of saying actually it's not a stick to beat people with, it's just setting the bar in terms of our culture about what we're looking to achieve. So I think actually sharing the information has been a crucial mass. But actually the fact that in the most part myself and Stuart and, as I say, our senior team are dealing with every one of those reviews that come into the business, sadly pretty much every day I'll see a review that either is an okay star rating, but actually the customer feedback and verbatim is not very positive, that we'll deal with that personally, either ourselves or through our management teams, to bring it to 100% resolution. I mean, if you look at our reputation engagement score, we leave no stone left unturned in terms of making sure that we bring a positive resolution. And actually, I think that sets the stall out for our teams to say, you know what, that's what good looks like, and that's what the expectations are of the business. We've empowered the teams to make the right decision without speaking with their line manager or their supervisor on doing the right thing for the customer. And at times that comes at cost, and we learn from that. But in the most part, what we've got is a new culture of people that actually understand and feel more empowered within their existing role, because they feel like they're at the forefront of what we're trying to achieve. And actually going back to the reputation platform, I think the platform enables us to be able to recognise the fantastic success within the teams when they've worked incredibly hard to help us deliver this. One of the big things on our overall score is there's certainly sites and motor retailers that have achieved a better overall high score at an individual location. I think what our score shows is that it's great consistency. So we've got some scores in the 900s. For those of you who are avid reputation fans, you'll know that's not a bad score. We've also got some sites that are 750. But actually it's our overall average that means that we've got 3 sites that aren't at 750 and the rest of them were in 1 percentage point of our business goal for this year of 865. So we're all striving in the same direction. Like anything, if you focus on something enough, if that's bending a spoon or getting man to the moon, you can do it, can't you? And for us, customer centricity and reputation has been our bending spoon moment.
Not a bad score, very modest.
Thank you.
You mentioned then consistency, which is vital, like you say, with the reputation score that you've got. How do you empower the teams to ensure that you're consistently meeting them customer expectations?
I think for us, the important thing is not to fear any review, good, bad or indifferent. Actually, when we don't get it right first time, we've seen a real opportunity over the last couple of years to, instead of sort of people putting their head in the sand and crossing fingers, hope they don't see the customer ever again, what we've done is we've turned those customers around, and some of those customers are now probably our biggest advocates of our brand, and they return and they know that they're going to trust us to spend money with us, but if we do get it wrong, we'll also put it right. And I think that's the important thing with the team to get their buy-in, is not to fear it. No one's perfect, and actually if they get it wrong, we'll support them, we'll come up with a plan of how we can turn that customer around and move forward in a positive manner with it.
Perfect, and you're exactly right, these negative reviews are going to creep through, so typically when a negative review comes in, what's the process after that? What does it look like?
That will come through from our marketing team to all the senior team plus the site involved, and then myself or Chris will pick that up with the site individually to talk through what their plan is. Obviously we want to empower them to make the decisions, and that's what we do with all team members, not just the management team. So we do want people to make decisions. They don't have to come to us for all the answers. They probably know the answers. Let's get the customer put right first, and afterwards we will deal with it. But we monitor the bad reviews at a high level, and we will continue to follow that through until we have a resolution, as Chris rightly pointed out.
Perfect.
We've spoke a lot about sort of the entire team and the full CX kind of programme. What does it mean to a dealer or a dealer manager? Obviously, everyone wants to be the top of a leaderboard. Is it also incentivised in any way? Are there other things going on? What does it mean to an actual dealer manager?
I think just personal pride with everything. I think we have grown a culture where everyone's very proud of the service we deliver day in, day out. And we also have a balanced scorecard within our business for every department. And there's 5 pillars to that, which one's new car profitability, used car profitability, profit per service hour, parts profit. But one of them is also reputation. So monthly we will score, our business and all the different individual departments, and obviously, again, a league table in our industry is particularly exciting for many people, and they want to see themselves at the top. So, then we just continue to drive the results forward.
Awesome.
We spoke a lot about being reactive to these reviews and things like that, but if we consider moving forward, how do you leverage the feedback that you're getting from your customers to drive operational excellence for the next time these customers are being innovative?
So we've worked on a root cause analysis, so we do a lot of detailed analysis when it does go wrong to be able to try to get to the very bottom of that. And I think there is normally one common denominator being, I think, no huge surprise, communication. So we spend a lot of time to try to assist the teams. Empowering and bringing reputation on is part of our journey. Has really been an element of the success, but we've also had to look at the people that we've onboarded and recruited, and the pond that we fish in terms of trying to encourage the right people to our industry. Actually, in the last 18 months, we've not employed a sales executive within the business, and we've got 23 points of sales representation. So we are looking to try to employ people perhaps where that customer-centric mind becomes, is more natural to them, and it's what they do. And we've seen teachers, baristas, people from hospitality, from all manner of different industries that actually we've been able to recruit and bring to the business. We've also got a very robust onboarding process that means that those new people, when they're new to industry, are supported through that entire journey. And I think actually if you set the scene and from our perspective are clear on what it is we're looking to achieve, and then you try to support those people, the right people, through that journey, in actual fact, great things happen, and that's certainly what we've seen in this instance.
Great. And with regards to that onboarding journey, if you're coming into it not knowing reputation, how does it look to bring them up to speed to ensure that they're pulling in that direction as well?
So as part of their introduction to the group, myself or Stuart get involved, and we would spend some time with the recruiting team to actually share with them what it is we're looking to do, how important our customer-centric minds are. We spend a lot of time talking about accountability and ensuring that we put the customer first. We often give examples where perhaps somebody who joins our business as a technician or somebody in our head office functions has to say, actually, what would you do this morning as you walk to this session? If you walk past a customer, if you worked in admin, you may well think that that's not your core role, to acknowledge that customer and get them to the place that they're trying to achieve on the day. So we try to show and demonstrate to people how we believe to do this, and we do that through leading them rather than dictating how they need to do it. So we try to support them in doing the right thing.
Okay.
At Reputation, we talk a lot about brand promise. And does your brand promise actually live up to the expectations as to what customers are actually saying about you online? How do you guys at Howard's make sure that there is a correlation between your brand promise and what customers actually feel about you?
Well, it's a really interesting one, and I guess what I love about Reputation is the fact that you're going to see the good, the bad, the ugly. There's no hiding away from the customer that you got it wrong with that's decided to leave a Google review on their way home. I think one of the things that we like to look at is to say, actually, every one of those reviews is handled by our senior management team, and a response will go back to every one of those. I think in itself that actually sets out, we believe, we almost get more from the response we've put than the review itself. Because I think as a consumer, you always try to turn this around, don't you? Say, how does it feel from my perspective? But actually, I think most people accept that there will be, great feedback, but there will also be negative feedback. And we believe that actually with a personalised, bespoke response to that person's time out that they've taken for the review, sets our stall out in terms of what our expectations are. People speak as they find, don't they? We're in a culture of Trustpilot and people really, being honest about a good experience, but also a negative one. And therefore, I'd like to think that the automotive reputation score we have is reflective of our culture. As I said at the start, we're a family-run business, so this isn't new. We didn't create a fantastic culture in our business in 2021. We already had one, but we needed to accept that the world continues to move, and what we were doing in 2021 was not going to be any good for 2024 and 2025.
Awesome. I think at last check, your reputation score 971, somewhere around there as an average,
correct,
last
yeah.
time I checked. So obviously you do all this really well. What's the flip side to this if you don't manage all of this customer feedback? What's the impact if you don't manage those things?
I think talking about weekly is really, really important, and daily really in most of the locations. As soon as you take your eye off something, the plate will stop spinning and it's likely to fall. And we see that throughout our whole business. We've got lots of aspirations and we're going to do this week, and you can see a manager come back from maybe a training course, say, right, I'm going to do these 3 things. How many things do they actually do? And for us, we sort of highlighted our sort of 10 things we want to do really, really well. Reputation's one of them, and every day, every week, we're talking about that and continuously talking about with the teams, trying to change behaviours, trying to look at best practice, and to guide the team in the direction that we need to, well, if they were a customer, how would they want to be treated, and then just keep them in that mindset as much as we can.
I think just to add to that, we truly believe, and we talk about customer centricity as being our North Star. And I think if anybody who's in business would realise that doesn't pay the bills in the short term. So behind the North Star is the sun, and the sun is profitability. And from our perspective, we run a profitable business, we run a very good business, but we also realise that without customers, we don't have a future. And I know lots of businesses would say that, and maybe it's in itself self-fulfilling, and you think, well, that's a pretty stupid statement because that's clear. But in actual fact, I think automotive at these moments has got to stick together. And I think as an industry, reputation is a fantastic platform for us to try to raise the bar in terms of what a consumer should come to expect of dealing with us. And actually, I think we've got to stick together, because if you look back in time, there's been plenty of opportunities where the consumer can make a choice. Do they buy online and have delivered to their door? Do they go to the store? And I think actually what so many retailers have done a fantastic job of over the course of the last 3 years is providing omni-channel for the customer. But in truth, people often get confused about value. And I think, again, as an industry, sometimes we're guilty of driving throughput through cost alone, through just simply changing the price and thinking we need to be cheap in order to be successful and drive throughput. And in truth, with ever increasing costs, national living wage changes of government, we definitely won't cover that one today. But all of those things are creating upward pressure. So I think we owe it to ourselves to be able to dictate a value transaction, which is one where a combination of fair value but great experience means the customer continues to want to deal with us. And certainly from our business, we're not looking to sell cars all over the country. We're looking to do exceptionally well with the brands we represent and the towns we represent them in our AOI. You won't find any of our cars on comparison sites being sold into your territories. That's not our business model, and it won't be. We'll look after our customers in our areas, use your platform to judge whether we're succeeding in that or not, and then ensure the customer gets fair value for a fair experience.
Awesome.
Perfect. I think you can see today how the automotive industry is heavily competitive. CX is an element that really does separate you against your competitors. How big is the focus on CX to ensure that you are beating your competitors?
Stu touched on this last night when we were talking about it, and sorry to take it, Stu, but I loved what you said. The reality is we are our own competition. So actually, the only thing we need to fear is ourselves. So from our point of view, as we said, we don't actually see our fellow competition being that of other people in our areas, in motor retail or in sister towns. Actually, we owe it to ourselves to do this and do it well. And the fallout, of course, of not getting it right, seeing so many what were fantastic businesses at a moment in time that failed to understand what was going to be important for their futures. And I think, sadly, some of those businesses don't exist today. And Blockbuster Videos, name just one, but we've all seen them, haven't we, come and go for those reasons.
I know it's a broad subject and it's quite difficult to answer, but if you were to give kind of your key nuggets to give people advice around your CX program, what would those be?
There are quite a few components to it. We keep it very simple, and we've got a very strict routine now. So I think it's set your goal, understand where you are today, look at what you want to achieve, and then set your plan of how to get there. We've been really clear with our teams. There's no misunderstanding with anyone. What our expectations are as a company, what our expectations are from their point of view, what they want to deliver. And I say it's monitoring it all the way through to ensure we just keep that North Star You go a degree left or right, you end up miles off by the time you get there. So it's really important to keep that focus.
Yeah, and I think you touched on the consistency aspect earlier, which of course we hear quite a lot within our business, but super, super important for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. As we obviously seen the league come out, was it last Monday, week ago Monday, and we have the good, the bad, the ugly, which comes out every Monday at a particular time. The excitement probably delayed that this week, on that particular week, and there was people sort of emailing you saying, what's happened? Is it all fallen over? Well, no, we've got some really exciting news to share, and we just wanted to try and take a bit of time on how we're going to tell you that. But that's sort of out of 310 employees, if you like, or co-workers, sort of 25 of those hitting you within sort of the first couple of minutes, and as you're in the business, people asking that question. So it shows the culture we've driven. They want to set their time by the fact we're going to do certain things when we say we're going to, and that's how it works for us.
Super.
Love it. Obviously ranked number 1 again this year. So where do you go from here? What's next for Howard's?
Well, I think touched on again earlier that certainly, whilst we're amazingly proud of the accomplishment of that number 1 spot, there's some fantastic people, and when you look down through the league table, there's people that perhaps a year ago you wouldn't have seen in those top spots who are also clearly doing some fantastic things. So this is a moment in time for us. We know, sadly, whilst our drive will continue to move forward in this area, I hope other businesses will around us. But as I said, it is only a checkpoint, and actually, whilst we wanted to achieve at the very highest level, winning the automotive reputation score wasn't our goal. Our goal is having a sustainable and profitable business for the future. So we'll continue to use the information the tool is providing us with to be able to ensure that we can continue to move forward, focusing on the value of a customer over an extended period of time, and really trying to put a monetary value to that. Hopefully we might be here again next year, or hopefully we might be sat there watching somebody else who's doing some fantastic things in order to maybe deem something from that. But certainly we're incredibly pleased, and I think one of the things we haven't touched on, and we work with a lot of third parties, is often the case where someone comes and sells you a product or a service, and when it comes to actually delivering their promise to you at the board table, sometimes it falls slightly short. And I would want to speak, as I find from a reputation's perspective, that the team that actually make this happen for us from a reputation perspective, and that connection we have is exceptional. I'd also say, and for those of you who are not on the platform, that it doesn't, it's not a silver bullet. The reputation platform itself won't make the required changes in your organisation if you're considering it to improve customer centricity. It will provide the information, but bloody hell, there's a lot of work, sorry for swearing, there's a lot of work to be able to deliver that. So I think I also wouldn't want to sit here and say it's a turnkey of do that and the success will follow, because team integration and making that happen with the great information that's provided is critical.
Amazing. Exciting 2025 ahead then.
Definitely, yeah, always good.
Look forward to it. Now, obviously, we wanted to use this opportunity to give you the award.
Oh,
Obviously, you're
thank
ranked number 1, so we wanted to do it in front of everyone. So,
Brilliant.
from Reputation and everyone here, huge congratulations.
Oh, it's all wrapped up well.
There you go. I don't want to break it. So.
No, well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Well
you.
done, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Well done, Stu.